Ciao e benvenuto, diamo un'occhiata all'Italia. Shall we have a look at Italy in 2024? Let's give them a grade out of 10. What would you go for? I'm going to do mine at the end of the video. I'm going to run through their year, the squad, where they're at, what the optimism should be for the future, what 2025 is shaping up like, and just some of the work-ons as well. But at the end of it, a grade out of 10, doing this for all of the countries day by day in alphabetical order. We are at Italy today. So leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit that subscribe button, and I would love it if you would give a thumbs up on the video as well. So, Italy in 2024, very memorable year. 2 wins and a draw, the best ever performance in a Six Nations Championship, which they have been part of now for 24 years. So the best performance ever is not to be sniffed at. An historic win against Scotland, could well have beaten England in the first match as well, a draw against France, and then another dramatic win against Wales as well. Again, of course, after a brilliant Six Nations, what do Italy do? They go to Samoa and lose. There you go. But then they bounce back with wins against Tonga and Japan. And then in the November, we've just seen absolutely smoked by Argentina. But then we're really, really competitive against New Zealand. And in the middle, almost got beaten by Georgia. So overall, a sort of mixed bag, but lots and lots of positives. A couple of lows, but some really good highs. Played 11 and won 5 of them. Drew 1 as well. So a 50% record. Well, I know 5 out of 11 is not 50%, but the draw equals it out. They've won as many as they've lost, so 50% it is. And I think Italian rugby fans will be feeling quite good about things at the moment, and understandably so. I'll come onto the squad in a second, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons for optimism, is that you can imagine they're actually going to potentially push on and get better. They've moved up 1 place in the world rankings, jumped above Wales, so they've gone from 11th to 10th, just behind Fiji, and I think Australia are in 8th. So they've got a couple of other nations in their crosshairs. I think they could get up to 9. Actually, I'll have to check what the highest Italy have ever been is. Maybe with the great Sergio Parise, they were a little higher, but they were outside the top 10. They are back there now. And, well, hence they're getting this video in this series, because I'm just doing the top 10 countries. So as for the squad for Italy, I mentioned it already. There should be optimism that Italy can go and push on, because they have got, I think it's the young... Certainly out of the top 10 teams, Wales might be a fraction younger, because Warren Gatland has cleared house and just got a load of new kids in. But what's really, really encouraging for Italy, they have got, out of the top 10 countries, the youngest squad of them all. In the autumn series, the November tests, the average age of the match day 23 was under 26. It was like 25.8, something like that, which is the youngest. France and England's was hovering around about 26. And then you had other countries upwards of there, 27, 28, Ireland 29, South Africa 30. Point being, I think, I'm just looking at in the matchday squad that played against New Zealand, there was only 3 players whose age began with the number 3. And of those, 2 of them were 30, no older than 30. The eldest is Ignacio Brex, who's 32. Point being, this team, these players can stay together for a long time. Look at Tommaso Menoncello, Player of the Year in the Six Nations 2024, an incredible achievement. He's 22. Some players that have been around for a while now, like Paolo Garbisi, he's got 42 caps to his name. He's 24. Ange Capuozzo is 25. Michele Lamaro, the captain, 45 caps to his name. He's only 26. Fischetti and Riccioni, their 2 props, 26 and 27. And then you've got guys that have come in and really made an impact this year. Ross Vincent came in and made his debut, 22. Manuel Zuliani played really, really well. He's 24. So is Alexander Isakor, who was another back row player, 24. They've got a seriously young team that will get better. And their back line with guys like Pani and Louis Liner's come in and added something as well. And Monty Ioane. They've got a fire back line. Really, really good. Back row's really good. Outside back's really good. I guess the problem for Italy is their front 5 and their halfbacks or their scrum half not as strong. I'll come on to that in terms of the work-ons for Italy, but they've got game winners in their team. They've got the piano players. They need a few piano pushers, and they could be a serious team. And that comes onto their work-ons. Some units, some absolute units. If Italy could unearth an Owini Antonio or Will Skelton shaped block of Italian meat, they could be in business. They just need a little bit of that. Some scary big human beings would go a long way, because, as I say, they have got the talents to absolutely shred teams if they get good solid ball. But the problem is penalties at scrum time, maul defence. Some of these things are where it can fall apart for Italy, and also scrum half. If you could just pluck, let me just think about it. Ebenet Sabeth, Oxenche, Antoine Dupont, three of the best players in the world. If you could, I mean, that would improve any team, obviously. But my point being, you could put those three players, if you put them in an Italian team, I think that you're suddenly looking at a top 5 team. The rest of their side is that good. Maybe a team that could win the Six Nations if you had those three players in. That's how much of a difference a few massive players and an incredible scrum half would be. Martin Page-Rello's been all right this year. Had some good games and some less good games. And that comes down to one of the factors, which is just consistency. On an individual level, some players can blow hot and cold. But on a team level, absolutely. Look at the way they got absolutely smashed by Argentina. But then were right in the game till the dying moments, and a last-minute try made the scoreline look much more comfortable for New Zealand. They really had New Zealand in a spot of bother. And, well, they did really, really well in the Six Nations. Got smashed by Ireland, but then go and draw with France. Same team week to week. Then they beat Wales and Scotland, and then they go lose to Samoa. So that is something that's got to be addressed. And the URC and Champions Cup performances are going to be a big part of that. If they can use the URC and the Champions Cup as the practice for international rugby about bringing it week on week on week, that's how they're going to do well in Six Nations and at Rugby World Cups. Because talk about consistency. How bad were Italy a year ago at the Rugby World Cup versus the Six Nations just a few months later? It blows the mind. And I know the head coach has had something to do with that, but the players have got to take responsibility for that. And yeah, they need to start using, and we're hearing stories about Zebre Palmer may well be going under, and they may go down to one team with Benetton. Even more the case, if Benetton becomes the de facto Italian national team in club colours, then it's a good opportunity for them. And I think Wales need to think about shutting down one or two of their franchises, but all the more reason for Italy to think we have to back it up week on week in the URC. And when it comes to Champions Cup, we cannot blow hot and cold, because that will then happen at national level too. As for 2025, Six Nations for them, they've got Scotland away, who are going to be wanting revenge. Wales at home, that will be a tasty match. France at home, Ireland at home with England in the middle. And then they have a tour to South Africa, which presumably they're going to be probably playing against a much more youthful South Africa, or maybe not. I'm not sure, actually. But yeah, that sort of goes to the point. You can imagine Italy doing really well against Scotland, Wales, England perhaps, but against the big teams, and they've done well against France historically, but against South Africa, a team with a load of massive mutants, you can see Italy being beaten quite heavily. We'll see. Let's see how 2025 goes. As for 2024, the score out of 10 that I would give them, 7.5. Gonzalo Quesada has done a really, really good job. Their squad's in a good place. And I mean, I thought about giving them a higher score, because they've had their best ever performance in the Six Nations. That's huge. But, I think an 8 out of 10 is where I was thinking I would land. Just knocked it down a couple of points for the absolute drubbing by Ireland, the drubbing by Argentina, the loss away in Samoa, but overall a really positive year for Italy. They've done really well, and I'm excited to see where this young squad can go. hopefully somewhere good, but not against England. I don't want a first ever historic win against England, please, Italy. Beat all the other teams. There we go. Your thoughts in the comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up. Hit subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.